Hi, good morning, everyone. To our respected officers, to our seafarers, and our trainees, a very pleasant good morning to all of you. I am your teacher, Shelly, and it is my pleasure to be with you today for another session of our Maritime English training. I hope everyone is doing well and ready to learn, which is something useful that we can apply directly to our work on board. Okay? And before we begin, I would like everyone to just relax, you participate, and feel free to answer questions during our discussion. And this is not just a lecture. I would like this to be an interactive session where we can share our knowledge and most importantly, connect what we are learning with our actual shipboard situations. Okay? And our topic today is very important for every seafarer because it involves not only environmental protection but also shipboard safety, a proper procedures, and of course compliance with our international regulations. So once again, good morning everyone, and let's get started, okay? And well, before we proceed with our lesson, I would also like to express my sincere appreciation to the Gumyang Shipping Seafarers Union for their support. Thank you very much for supporting this training and for giving us the opportunity to continue developing the knowledge and the skills of our seafarers. No? And your support is important because training like this helps seafarers become more confident, they're more knowledgeable, and better prepared for their responsibilities on board. And we truly, really appreciate your continued support for the maritime education and for the professional development of the seafarers. So, to the Gimyang Shipping Seafarers Union, thank you very much for your trust, for the cooperation and the support. And to all our seafarers joining us today, thank you as well for your time and appreciation and the participation. I hope that by the end of today's session, you will take away practical knowledge that you can apply directly on board. Right? So, once again, thank you, Gimyang Shipping Seafarers Union. Okay, and let's begin our lesson. Alright? Now, let's move to our main topic. Okay. Alright, so today's lesson is all about the classification of garbage on board ships. Okay? This is a part of our maritime English training. So, aside from understanding the procedures, we will also become familiar with the vocabulary and the expressions which is commonly used when discussing shipboard garbage management. Okay? Now, so when we hear the word garbage, okay, garbage, we might simply think of something that needs to be thrown away, okay, thrown away. But on board the ship, garbage management is much more than that, right? We have different types of waste, and each type may have a different method of handling. We have different method of storage, like the processing also, and the proper disposal. So, for a seafarer, knowing the difference is very important. Why? Alright. Now, because of improper garbage handling, it can cause pollution. It can create safety hazards. Okay? It can damage the equipment and even result in legal consequences for the vessel and the crew. So today, we are going to look at garbage classification from a practical shipboard perspective. All right? Now, for the importance of waste segregation, let's start, I think, with the basic question. What is waste segregation? All right. So, waste segregation, this is the practice of separating discarded materials, okay, into different categories. Okay, for example, we may separate biodegradable. Okay, we may separate recycle materials or recyclable materials, or the plastic materials, or metal, or metals, or the glass materials, or the paper. And of course, we have such a type like hazardous or a special waste, right? So, question, why do we need to separate everything? All right. First, it prevents cross-contamination. Okay? Cross-contamination. Now, when, for example, a food waste is mixed with plastic, it becomes much more difficult to process the waste properly, right? Okay, next. Why do we need to separate the paper materials? Because proper segregation can increase the amount of material that can be recycled or appropriately processed. Alright? And thirdly, why do we need to separate them? Okay, because it reduces the amount of waste that eventually has to be disposed of. Alright? And for us or for all of the seafarers, most importantly, the proper segregation helps protect the marine environment. Okay? Remember this simple principle. Segregation starts at the source. We should not wait until the garbage has already been mixed together. We separate it where it is generated. For example, if the garbage is produced in the galley, all right, in the kitchen, it should be classified there from the very start. All right? Now, if it is produced in the engine room, it should be classified from engine room. Okay? Now, this simple habit of waste segregation can make the entire process much more effective. Alright? So that's the importance of waste segregation. Alright. For the topic of understand shipboard garbage, let's identify the different types of garbage. that we may encounter on board. So, in this slide, there are several common categories. We have e-waste, okay? We have paper, glass, we have metal, we have plastic, and we have organic waste. So, let's just briefly discuss each one. So, first is the e-waste, or what we call electronic waste. So, these are discarded electrical or electronic devices. Alright? And then, examples of this are our sometimes smartphones, our laptops, the broken televisions, refrigerators, and microwaves, no? All electronic wastes. Now, on board, we may also encounter electronic components like damaged sensors, like circuit boards, the wirings, or any other electronic equipments. So, next is the paper. Now, of course, this may include office paper, our cardboard boxes, our printed documents, no, the navigation-related papers, materials, no, or the paper towels, and any other cellulose-based materials. Then, we have glass. Okay. Example, of course, includes empty food jars, no? Glass beverage bottles, okay? Broken light bulbs, that are also very well applicable to this category. And also, we also have a broken window glass and the glass medicine vials, no? Those are all examples under a glass category. And then we have the metal. Metal waste can come from the engine room, basically, or sometimes from the deck. Okay, our maintenance activities and other shipboard operations. And the sample of these are empty cans, our steel drums, our wire ropes, metal shavings, the machinery parts, and also other rust shipping debris. So we also have plastic, no? This is especially important because plastic bottles, and these are all major environment concerns, especially nowadays, associated with marine garbage, no? Example of this, of course, our plastic bottles, no? And then our plastic wrapping. We have synthetic ropes, our disposable gloves, the fiberglass materials, and the nylon fishing gears. Those are example of plastic material garbage. And lastly, the examples of what we call these are all common from the galley, the pantry, and the dining areas. And examples of this for the plastic are the vegetable peels, no, the leftover materials, fruit rinds and meat bones, the eggshells and coffee grounds are examples of organic wastes, no? And then we have also these organic materials are all common in the galley also, no? So we can just ask ourselves, no, what type of garbage should all of this, no, or should it go? So where do you think? So that is not the mindset we want to develop on board. All right? Okay. Next is the MARPOL Annex 5. This is the most important part for today's lesson. Marple Annex 5. This deals with the specific or specifically with the important how to prevent pollution. Okay? Garbage from ships. Okay? Very important part of the topic. Now, our main objective here is to protect the marine environment. How? Alright. By regulating how ships manage and dispose of garbage. Alright? That is our main objective for our Marple Annex 5. For all the seafarers, Marple Annex 5 is not simply a regulation that we study for an examination. It is something that affects our daily work on board. Now, every time we separate garbage, we store the waste, we process the waste, we record the garbage operations or arrange the disposal through a port reception facility, we are already participating in shipboard garbage management under Marple Annex 5. Okay? So, everyone, I want you to remember this. Marple Annex 5 is the prevention of pollution by garbage from ships. Okay? That is one of the key points that I want you to remember from today's lesson. Okay? Prevention of pollution by garbage from ships. Marple Annex 5. Okay. Now, if we have Marple Annex 5, we have the 8 Marple Annex 5 special areas. Now, let's talk about this. This presentation or the presentation now identifies 8 areas. Okay? We have Mediterranean Sea, we have the Baltic Sea, the Black Sea, the Red Sea, the Gulf area or the Persian Gulf, Arabian Gulf. We have the North Sea, which includes the Channel or the English Channel. And the 7th is the Antarctic area, which is the south of 60 degrees south latitude. And lastly, for the special areas is the wider Caribbean region, which includes the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean Sea. Okay, question. Why are these areas important? Okay, the best answer is because why this one are important areas? Because they receive a stricter protection and have a tighter garbage discharge requirements. Okay. The general principle is that the garbage discharge, okay, is much more restricted in these areas. For example, for the plastics. For example, for the e-waste. Okay? Example for the cooking oil. For the incinerator ash. And the operational waste, they are strictly prohibited, okay, from discharge at sea. Okay? Now, with the paper, with the glass, and for the metals, they are also prohibited overboard discharge inside these special areas. And it must be retained on board and deliver it to the appropriate port reception facilities. Okay, always remember that. And lastly, for the food waste, this is also subject to specific conditions. So, as a seafarer or as seafarers, you must always know where the vessel is operating and understand what discharge restrictions apply. So, a simple mistake in garbage disposal, remember this, can become a serious MARPOL violation. So, remember these special areas. Okay? And the rules of the different types of waste or garbage. Alright? Always remember that. Okay. Now, let's ask an important question. What happens when shipboard garbage is improperly dumped into the sea? Okay? What do you think? Alright. The consequences can be severe. One major problem is ingestion and internal injury. Now, marine animals such as the seabirds, the sea turtles, and marine mammals can mistake floating plastic and other wastes for food. Now, for example, when they swallow it, it can block, their digestive system. Now, it can cause internal injuries to them and eventually lead to starvation. Right? Now, another problem is entanglement in ghost fishing. Right? So, like discarded ropes, like your fishing gear, your plastic materials or packaging, like synthetic materials. Well, basically, it can trap marine animals, So, these animals, of course, may suffer injuries. So, if that happens, they become unable to move. So, they drown. So, there is also a problem of microplastic materials. So, like large pieces of plastic, it can gradually break down into small particles. So these microplastics can enter the food chain through, of course, organisms, such as plankton and small fish, and eventually affect larger marine animals and even seafood consumed by humans, right? So another concern is a chemical and heavy metal pollution. Improper disposal of e-waste, the batteries, the oily materials, the paint containers and similar waste, it can release harmful substances into the marine environment. So could you just imagine, no? If we do that. And finally, organic waste, no, can contribute to oxygen depletion in certain waters when large amounts decompose. So when we talk about garbage management, we are not simply talking about keeping the ship clean. We are talking about protecting marine life, protecting the food chain, and protecting the environment. So, it all boils down to proper waste segregation or garbage segregation. Alright? So, here, the shipboard waste management. Okay, now we move from the environment impact to the practical side. Okay, what do you think, or how do we manage waste on board? Alright. Shipboard waste management involves several important systems and procedures. Okay? First is the garbage separation. Can you see here? There's a lot of trash bins, no? So, food, plastic, Food, we have plastic, we have metal, and other waste must be segregated or separated according to the applicable garbage management procedures. Okay? Secondly, the incineration system. Some approved waste types may be burned, no? Using the ship incinerator. But we must remember that not everything can be put into incinerator. There are materials that cannot, no? Materials that cannot be burned or put into the incinerator because there are materials that can create serious hazards. Okay? If improperly incinerated. Okay? Now, in this presentation, it also reminds us that incineration is not allowed in port. Okay? It's not allowed. And also, another important system is the oil-water separator. Now, this equipment is used to treat oily water. And the presentation highlights the requirement to meet the applicable 15 ppm standard. Alright? And record the operation properly or appropriately. Then, we also have chemical. Okay? Chemical waste. Alright. Now, for the chemical waste, well, it must be handled carefully. Right? With the appropriate safety information, like we have to wear our PPEs, or the proper designated storage. And finally, all these activities, no, should be supported by the vessel's waste management plan or the garbage management plan. Now, the plan or this plan is ship-specific, no, system. The crew should be trained on it. And it should be posted where appropriate locations such as near the galley and the engine room. So, remember this, everyone. The key message here, all right, is that good waste management is a system. All right? It is not simply one person throwing something into the bin. It involves segregation or separation, the processing, the storage of the equipment, okay, the proper documentation, the crew training, and of course, the proper disposal of all the waste. Okay? Always remember that. Alright? It is not simply throwing away into our trash bin. Okay? Remember that. Okay. So let's look at the slides more closely. The first point is the garbage separation. Okay? This should happen immediately and according to the applicable MARPOL categories and the ship's procedures. Okay? Next is the incineration system. Only approved waste should be burned. And the crew must follow the ship's procedures for safe operation. Alright? Now, thirdly, we have the oil-water separator. Alright? Now, this requires a proper operation. We have to have a proper monitoring and proper documentation. Okay? Next is the chemical waste. Alright? We have the chemical waste. So, chemical needs designated storage and, of course, the proper handling. We should never treat chemical waste like ordinary domestic garbage. Never. Alright? And lastly or finally, we have the waste management plan. Okay? This is particularly important because it tells the crew that procedures to follow, okay, on that particular vessel. So the plan should be ship specific. Okay? The crew should be trained and the relevant procedures here should be readily available. Okay? So if you ever unsure, no, about how to handle this particular type of garbage on board, don't simply guess. Alright? You check the ship's garbage management plan. And that's the time you follow the vessel's established procedure. Alright? Always remember this, the proper shipboard waste management. Okay? Now, since we have now covered the basic foundation, okay, we have discussed the what the waste segregation is, the major types of shipboard garbage, the Marple Annex 5, the special areas, the environmental consequences of improper disposal, and the basic systems, no, used for shipboard waste management. Okay? From the next part of our presentation, we will go deeper into the specific types of garbage, no? We will go deeper into specific types of garbage that are produced by different departments on board, including the galley, the engine room, the deck, and the cargo operations. Now, as we continue, I want you to think, all of you, about your own experience on board. Now, can you ask yourself, now, what kind of garbage does your department, or like, for example, if you're from the galley, produced every day? No? You just ask yourself from your cabins, no, from the engine room, and of course, more importantly, ask yourself, no, am I putting each type of garbage in the correct place? So, can you answer that? Are you putting each type of garbage in the correct place? Right? So I'll leave it all to I'll leave it there, no? If you can answer yourself properly about it. All right? Okay. So, anyways, let's continue with the types of garbage produced on ship every day. Now, we have already discussed, right, the importance of garbage segregation and the basic requirements under Marple Annex 5. Now, let's make it more practical. What type of garbage are actually produced on a ship every day? What do you think? Well, garbage is generated, of course, in almost every department on board, right? It does not come from just one location. We have garbage from the galley, we have garbage from the catering department, from the engine room department, and from the deck and cargo department. So each department produces different types of waste. And because the waste is different, no? The handling and segregation requirement can also be different. So as we go through our next slides, I want you all to think about your own department. Okay. And then ask yourself again, what kind of garbage do we normally produce? And what or how do we normally handle it on our vessel? Okay? So if you can answer that properly, well, hopefully you were able to learn something from what we have discussed earlier. Now, let's go to the galley and the catering department. Let's start with this department, because this is one of the areas really where garbage is produced continuously. Yeah, right? Because food wastes, no, is being prepared and served every day, right? So there are three important types as shown here. We have food waste, we have cooking oil, we have domestic refuse. So first, for the food waste, the example of these are the raw meat, trimmings, or the cook leftovers, the vegetable peelings, the staple bread, or the stale bread, the fruit rinds, and the coffee grounds, no? So this is where, or whenever we prepare meals, there will naturally be food scraps. So here, this should be separated from other types of garbage, right? Now, next is the cooking oil. Well, this includes, of course, vegetable oils, the animal fats, and the fryers and food preps, no, or preparation. Now, one very important point is that cooking oil should not simply be poured into the galley sink. Okay? It needs to be collected and then it should be handled according to the ship's wastes. Okay? Or according to ship's waste management procedures. Alright? And of course, finally, we have domestic refuse. So this can include single-use paper plates, the cardboard boxes, we have the aluminum beverage cans, no? We have glass jars, we have food wrappers, and other plastic containers. Now, notice that even something as simple as a meal, no? It can produce several different categories of garbage, right? For example, you're eating, or imagine you're eating lunch on board. You might have food scraps. You might have a plastic wrappers. You must have glass jars or any cardboard box, and perhaps a beverage cans. No, this should not automatically go into a one garbage bin, right? They need to be properly segregated. That's why a garbage classification begins at the point where garbage is generated, as mentioned earlier. Alright? So, for example, in the engine room department, okay, the engine room produces different kind of waste, right? We have maintenance residues. We have, or they have, hazardous and chemical items, or the e-waste. Now, for the maintenance residues, the example of this includes used oil filters, damaged machinery gaskets, the metal turnings, or shavings, no? Worn pump components, and wire mesh. So these materials can come from the normal maintenance and repair activities, right? Now, next is the hazardous and chemical items. Yes. Example includes empty chemical drums, your solvent containers, your aerosol spray cans, your dirty rugs soaked with oil or grease, and the spent batteries. So this material now require particular attention because some of them can be hazardous and they should not be treated in the same way as ordinary basic domestic waste, right? And lastly, we have e-waste. The examples of this include blown navigational bulbs. We have failed circuits. We have damaged wirings, we have broken sensors, we have discarded electronic test equipment. So, for our engine room personnels, paging all the engineers, proper segregation is specifically important. Okay? A mistake in identifying waste can create not only an environment problem, but also a fire, a chemical, or an equipment hazard. Okay? So always remember that if all the engineers are unsure whether an item is hazardous, please don't simply put it into the generate or in a general waste bin. Okay? You check the ship's procedure. Okay? Not only the engine department, but also for the galley department. Okay. Now, let's go to the deck and cargo department. Alright. So, the waste here is simply mainly related to cargo handling, the deck maintenance waste, and the cargo residues. Okay. For the cargo handling materials, we can have wooden dunnage board. Okay? Or boards. We have the plywood covers. We have the wooden pallets. We have plastic shrink wrapped. We have polished strapping bands and the heavy-duty steel wire lashings. Right? I know all the deck officers and the crew here or the deck department are aware of this. Now, during cargo operations, a considerable amount of packaging and securing material can be generated. Right? So, we have deck maintenance waste. Right? Here. Examples of this are the rust shipping debris, the paint flakes, the empty paint tins, worn synthetic mooring ropes, and the old wire cables. So these materials need to be properly collected and segregated. And lastly, we have cargo residues. Now, these are materials that are left behind after cargo operations. Examples of these are the dry bulk cargo, or dry bulk cargo dust, the sweepings or washings, the remaining on deck or inside cargo holds after discharge, like the coal, we have iron ore, or the grain. Alright? So those are the examples. And the important point is that cargo residues cannot simply be treated as an ordinary garbage. Right? Because this classification disposal depend on the applicable requirements and whether the material is harmful to marine environment, we have to segregate it properly. Alright? Still, it boils down to proper garbage segregation. So, attention to all deck and cargo department. Okay? Alright. Why ships cannot simply throw garbage into the sea? Okay, now we come to a very important question. Why can't ships simply throw garbage into the sea? Well, basically, the answer should be very obvious by now, huh? So, but let's look at the consequences. Okay? First, there is toxicity and chemical pollution. So, materials such as heavy metals from e-waste, the residues from paint and chemical containers, and the oily materials can, of course, introduce harmful substance into the marine environment. Okay? Now, this substance can damage sensitive ecosystems, including our coral reefs, including where the marine including the areas where the marine organisms live and reproduce. Okay? Now, our another concern is the eutrophication. Okay? Now, when large quantities of untreated organic waste enter our restricted waters, the composition of all this can consume dissolved oxygen. Now, if oxygen levels become too low, our marine organisms may not be able to survive. And this can create what we call marine dead zones. Okay? Marine dead zones. So when someone says it's only a small amount of garbage, we need to understand that the problem is not necessarily just one piece of garbage. But if many ships and many crew make the same mistake repeatedly, what do you think will happen? The environmental impacts become much greater, right? Now, as a seafarers, no, we have a responsibility to prevent that. Okay? Each of us have responsibility. All right? That's why ships cannot simply throw garbage into the sea. Okay? Now, there is a reason or another reason why proper garbage management is so important. The legal and financial consequences. Now, under MARPOL 5, right, dumping plastics into the ocean is strictly illegal. A vessel that violates garbage discharge requirement may face a serious consequences. This can, of course, include insignificant financial penalties from the port state control authorities. A vessel may also be detained. Okay? Now, in serious cases, individuals such as the master, the chief engineer, or other involved crew members may face legal or criminal consequences. Remember that. There can also be, reputational damage to the shipping company. Remember that always. Not just the crew, but to the shipping company. Now, remember that a shipping company which involved in environmental violations, they may face problems with its reputation, their certification, their chartering opportunities, and the business relationships. So, garbage management is not just about protecting the environment. It's also about protecting the vessel, the company itself, the master and the officers and the crew. So, this is why a proper garbage segregation and accurate documentation are very important. Okay, always remember that, everyone. Okay, now how seafarers handle garbage on board. Okay, now let's look at the actual process. All right. Shipboard garbage handling is organized or is an organized routine governed by the vessel's garbage management plan or the GMP. Now there are 4 main stages shown. Okay? In this presentation, stage 1, the garbage sorting source, no? And then we have what we call the onboard processing and volume reduction. We have the secure onboard storage and the discharge. The 4th one, the discharge to port reception facility. Okay, facilities. So the process, the segregation, the process, the storage, and in delivering ashore, these 4 are very useful consequence to remember. Alright? Now, for the MARPOL Annex 5 definition of garbage, as I mentioned, this is broader, no, than what we might normally think as of as garbage. Because under garbage 5, Annex 5, garbage includes different types of waste, no, during the normal operation of a ship. Of course, this includes the food waste, domestic waste, the operational waste, the cargo residues, the animal carcasses, the fishing gear, plastics, cooking oil, and incinerator ashes. So, when we talk of MARPOL Annex 5 context, we are talking about many different categories of waste, no? So, this is important because each category can have its own handling and disposal requirements. Therefore, knowing the definition helps us understand why proper classification is necessary. Okay? So, basically, when we say garbage, according to MARPOL Annex 5, well, it includes all this. Okay? It includes all this. Now, generated during normal operation of a ship, always, I want here to emphasize, the normal operation of a ship garbage, no? So, every day, we cook, we maintain equipment, the crew members live and work on board. So, garbage is not something that we do only when we arrive at port. It is an everyday shipboard responsibility. Alright? And for the Annex 8, as discussed earlier, these are the special areas. Right? So from, wait lang, one moment. So after the special areas wherein we were able to discuss that, let's go to garbage categories. No? We have plastics, the food waste, domestic waste, and operational waste. Now, I want you all to remember that it's so basic, no? Proper garbage classification. This is not only simply about putting waste into different colored bins. Okay? We need to understand what garbage actually is, where it came from, and what requirements apply to it. Alright? So if it's a plastics, if it's a food waste, we have domestic waste, operational waste, we have to understand that where it came from. So when we classify garbage, we have to look carefully at the material and its source. Okay? So, yeah, here we have animal carcasses, incinerator ashes, cooking oil, or cargo residues. We have to learn to classify that. Okay? Now, we have here key legal exclusions. We have MARPOL Annex 1, Annex 2, Annex 3, 4, and 6. And we have fresh fish and parts, no? We have to properly come up that we have to know the waste, basically. Know the applicable regulation. And, of course, follow the ship's procedures. Alright? It's very important. And then, we have marine English vocabulary usage. No? There are terms. Okay? And their usage. So, we also have for the MARPOL Annex 5, look. Alright? This is an example. Very important, the baseline rule. The garbage or the discharge of all garbage into the sea is prohibited unless it is specifically permitted. Always ask yourself, can I throw this overboard? Always ask yourself first. So prohibition is the baseline. Permitted discharge is the exception. Okay? And then we have the mandatory onboard documentation. Okay? We have that. And also, there are exceptions. Alright? Here, there are exceptions for the MARPOL Annex 5. Okay? Now, question. There's an exception, so we can discharge garbage? Of course, no. The exceptions are narrow, and they are specific, and they are connected to particular circumstances. Okay? Not all. Only under these 3 narrow legal exceptions. Alright? Now, for the marine environmental harmfulness criteria, this is particularly important when dealing with solid, bulk cargo residues and cleaning agents. Alright? Okay. And then, well, the meaning of garbage, classification, with detailed shipboard routines and safety benefits. Now, at this point, let's connect everything we've discussed so far. So, garbage classification, right, has 3 major purposes. And then, we have the correct classification. Alright? Correct classification. And so, garbage classification should never be viewed as a minor housekeeping task. Okay? it is now a part of responsible shipboard operations. Alright? And then we have the meaning and mechanics of garbage classifications. Okay? So basically, the plastic remains plastic. Alright? We have to dispose it properly and all other waste. Now, always remember this. Correct classification at the source is the foundation of effective garbage management. Okay? Remember that always. Alright? I'll leave it there. Okay. A detailed shipboard routines for waste classification. So since we've already discussed the practical part of garbage classification, so waste classification follows a clear 4-stage physical process from generation to its final disposal. Okay, we have primary sorting at source, we have pre-treatment processing, okay? And we have the plastics and food wastes, okay? Remember this always, that processing does not change the identity of waste. Okay? Now, if plastics enters the food waste stream, grinding it does not make it food waste. That is why a proper segregation must happen at the very beginning. Okay? From the very start. Alright. Now, for the operational and safety benefits of garbage classification, I'll ask something, everyone. Why is garbage classification a safety issue? Now, why do you think? Okay. Now, many people may think really that garbage segregation is mainly about environment protection. Well, of course it is. But it's also directly connected to shipboard safety. Right? So the first benefit is the prevention of fires explosion. Secondly is the prevention of spontaneous combustion. And thirdly is the hygiene, the health, and the sanitation. Right? So, all of this, it can create unpleasant odors and bacterial growth. So, when we segregate garbage correctly, we are, of course, protecting now the environment, basically. Our ship, our equipment, and, of course, ourselves. Okay? Of course, ourselves. Now, with the operational and safety benefits of garbage classification, well, basically, garbage classification is not just about putting waste into the correct bin, right? It helps protection, or it helps protect the vessel from the equipment damage, the safety incidents, the regulatory problems, and the unnecessary expenses. Okay? Those are the benefits, the operational and safety benefits of garbage classification. Okay? And, of course, the standardized shipboard color coding. Well, we have to follow this one because this is very important. The color coding system. Alright? The color coding. Always remember this. Alright? And then, for the Gully Catering team, there you go. The Gully Catering team. You have to properly collect and properly segregate everything. We have to follow these steps consistently so we can prevent many garbage management problems. And of course, for the engine, yes, for the engine room, follow this one. Okay? You follow the proper segregation also. Again, if there is uncertainty or if you're not sure, the safest approach is to check the garbage management plan. Okay? Or ask your responsible officer. Alright? Okay. For the deck department, segregate properly with the color coding. Okay, it is really also important for your safety. Okay? For the pollution prevention. And of course, for the MARPOL compliance. Okay? And then, yes, we have the importance of garbage classification. Right? Well, basically, it is our daily responsibility. Now, within and with the share or within and shared by the entire crew on board. Okay? So, let's ask ourselves, why is the proper garbage classification important? Well, as we all know, every person on board has a role, no, to play. Not only for the responsibility of the chief officer, for the chief engineer, or other, and also to other designated garbage officers, no, but everyone who generates garbage, no, has a responsibility to classify it correctly. All right. So each of us on board has a responsibility. Okay, for the legal and regulatory impacts. Well, as discussed earlier, right? Proper garbage management, it protects you legally. If you do it right, if you record it properly, if you follow the vessel's established procedures, well, we can all prevent the legal aspects, right? We can really prevent that. If you will just follow the proper garbage, proper garbage disposal. Okay, next is the operational and shipboard safety impacts. Okay, we have, wait for a moment, operational and shipboard impact. Okay. Here, these are the garbage segregation wherein it gives us four, okay, four important benefits. The safety, okay, we have the equipment protection, and we can also have onboard hygiene and health, and efficient storage. All right. So basically here, for the operational and shipboard safety impacts, proper garbage classification also directly improves shipboard safety, the working conditions, and the equipment longevity. Okay? So, for the improper, and then compared to the proper garbage classification, well, in this slide, it is useful because it shows us the consequences in different operational areas, right? We can look at the legal compliance, we can look at the effect or what will happen for the environment or for the marine environment, for the shipboard safety, and the hygiene and living. All right? So, proper, it all boils down to the proper classification. Of course, it protects everything. Right? It protects the environment. It protects the vessel. It protects the crew. And it protects the company, of course. Right? Here, yeah, the example scenarios. Right? There's an incinerator explosion. An error. Look at the label, the paper and cardboard, and then you throw away an aerosol. Right? Then here, so basically, this aerosol is burned, and then there's a big possibility that there will be explosion of the incinerator. Right? So proper disposal again is present. So here, the contaminated food waste discharge. So the error here is that you put plastic wrappers instead of only food waste materials. Okay, so the process here, and then you put plastic material or contaminated materials. So the plastic here has been shredded. So maybe here in this grinder, the plastic was also shredded. So you already violated a legal action here. And then it was thrown into the sea. Well, basically, you already violated something here for the environmental hazard, right? So please don't mix them, right? If it's only a food waste, just a food waste. Do not put plastics, okay, materials into your food waste because all of these, okay, are processed in this equipment. Okay? So next. All right. So we have here now our questions and answer. So question number 1 is the main purpose of MARPOL Annex 5. So what is the correct answer here? For number 1, of course, it's all about to prevent pollution by garbage from ships, right? So for question number 2, which of the following is classified as garbage under MARPOL Annex 5? What do you think? Yes, the food waste, right? The food waste. All right, for question number 2, where should garbage be separated? What do you think? Where it should be separated? From the source, or from where the garbage is generated, or from the source. And then, which department only or mainly produce food waste and cooking oil? Of course, in the galley, because this is where the kitchen is. The galley and the catering department. So the food waste and the cooking oils are produced from the galley and catering department. And then number 5, which of the following is an important of engine department waste? Of course, the oil filters. From the gloves, right? Sometimes, okay? And then for number 6, what should be done with used cooking oil? Alright, that's very important. Attention to all chief cook or to all our messmans. So what should be done with used cooking oil? It should be collected in sealed containers for proper disposal. Okay, remember that. And why is proper garbage classification important? Yes, of course. It prevents pollution and improves shipboard safety. Always remember that. Why is proper garbage classification important? It prevents pollution and improves shipboard safety. And for number 8, what can happen if aerosol spray cans are incorrectly placed in waste for incineration? Well, of course, incinerator may be damaged or may cause explosion. Always remember that to never put aerosol spray cans in the incinerator. Alright? And then for number 9, which type of waste must never be discharged into the sea? Plastics. Because, of course, this is difficult or it is not degradable. Alright? Next for number 10, what is the main lesson, do you think, from the incinerator explosion scenario? What is the main lesson from that? Of course, only the chief engineer should sort the garbage. Alright? Okay. Now, that's our last question, of course. Okay. Alright. So, that brings us to the end of our presentation, no, everyone? But before we close, I would like to thank everyone for your time, for your attention, and for your participation today. And I hope that this session has given you a clearer understanding of shipboard garbage classification and waste management. Okay? But more importantly, I hope you will take these lessons with you, of course, when you return to your respective vessels. And remember the key points. Segregate garbage at the source. Know your garbage categories. Follow the vessel's garbage management plan. And never discharge prohibited garbage into the sea. You have to handle hazardous materials carefully. Alright? And always remember that a proper garbage management protects not only the marine environment but also ourselves. You. Okay? Your fellow crew members, your vessel, and your company. Okay? Now, I would also like once again to express my sincere appreciation to the Gumiang Shipping Seafarers Union for their support and for helping make this training possible. Thank you very much, everyone, for your continued support and for this support for the seafarer training and the professional development. No? And to all our seafarers today, thank you for participating and for sharing your time with us. I hope you learned something useful and that you can apply directly on board. That you must take it, no? You bring that knowledge on board. Thank you very much for listening. And I wish everyone have a safe sailing. Fair winds, everyone. Have a wonderful day again. And again, this is your teacher for today, Teacher Shelly. Thank you for listening. Okay, have a good day, everyone.